ॐ ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। ॐ ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्मकर्मसमाधिना। यत्र योगेश्वरो कृष्णः यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिः ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So we'll begin from begin a recitation from 31st shloka, and we will complete this chapter. It has 43 shlokas altogether. So today we will actually do 13 shlokas. Okay, so ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम्
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम्
अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः
अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः
श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तो
श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तो
मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः।
मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः।
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः
ये मे मतम् इदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः
श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः।
श्रद्धावन्तो न शूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः।
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः।
ये मे मतम् इदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः।
ये त्वे तदभ्यसूयन्तो
ये त्वे तदभ्यसूयन्तो
नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम्
नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम्
सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान्
सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान्
विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः।
विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः।
ये त्वे तदभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम्
ये त्वे तदभ्यस् ये त्वे तदभ्यसन् अभ्यसूयन्तो
ये त्वे तदभ्यसूयन्तो
ये त्वे अभ्यसूयन्तो
आ,
नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम्
तदभ्यसूयन्तो ये त्वे तदभ्यसूयन्तो
ये त्वे तदभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम्
सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः।
सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान् अचेतसः।
ये त्वे तदभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः।
ये त्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान् अचेतसः।
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः
प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि
प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि
प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि
प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि
निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतिर्ज्ञानवानपि
प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्याः प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहः किं करिष्यति
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे
रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ
रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ
तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत्
तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत्
तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ
तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः
परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्
परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः
परधर्मो भयावहः
परधर्मो भयावहः
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात्
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः
स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनं श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावहः
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन उवाच
अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयम्
अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयम्
पापं चरति पूरुषः
पापं चरति पूरुषः
अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय
अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय
बलादिव नियोजितः
बलादिव नियोजितः
अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः
अतः केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः
अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः
अनिच्छन् अपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः
अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन्नपि वार्ष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः।
अथ केन प्रयुक्तोऽयं पापं चरति पूरुषः अनिच्छन् अपि वार्ष्णेय बलात् इव नियोजितः।
श्रीभगवानुवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
काम एष क्रोध एषः
काम एष क्रोध एषः
रजोगुणसमुद्भवः
रजोगुणसमुद्भवः
महाशनो महापाप्मा
महाशनो महापाप्मा
विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्।
विध्येनम् इह वैरिणम्।
काम एष क्रोध एषः रजोगुणसमुद्भवः
काम एष क्रोध एषः रजोगुणसमुद्भवः
महाशनो महापाप्मा विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्।
महाशनो महापाप्मा विध्येनम् इह वैरिणम्।
काम एष क्रोध एषः रजोगुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विध्येनमिह वैरिणम्।
काम एष क्रोध एषः रजोगुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विध्येनम् इह वैरिणम्।
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः
यथादर्शो मलेन च
यथादर्शो मलेन च
यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः
यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः
तथा तेनेदमावृतम्।
तथा तेनेदमावृतम्।
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च
यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्।
यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्।
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्।
धूमने व्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदम् आवृतम्।
धूमेनाव्रियते।
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः
हम्म।
यथा
आ आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन
ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा
ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणः
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय
दुष्पूरेणानलेन च
दुष्पूर्णेनानलेन च
दुष्पूरेण अनलेन च
दुष्पूरेण अनलेन च
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेणानलेन च
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरणेनालेन च
दुष्पूरेणानल. So if you want to break it, it's okay. Dushpurena analena cha.
कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेण अनलेन च
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेण अनलेन च
आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेण अनलेन च.
So those together become Dushpurena Nalena Cha. So you have to extend that A longer, that's it.
Yeah, dushpurena.
Dushpurena plus Analena becomes Dushpurena Lane. Dushpurena Nalena Cha.
Yeah. Shall I do the whole thing again?
No, no, it's okay. Indriyani Mano Buddhihi
इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिः
Asyadhishtanamuchyate
अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते.
एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः
एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः
ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्.
इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते
इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते.
एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्.
इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्
इन्द्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते. एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः यत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्.
Okay, so three more shlokas to complete. Tasmat tvamindriyaanyadau
तस्मात् त्वम् इन्द्रियाण्यादौ
niyamya bharatarshabha
नियम्य भरतर्षभ
पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनं
पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनम्.
ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्.
तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभा
तस्मात् त्वम् इन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ
पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनम् ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्.
तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभा पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्
तस्मात् त्वम् इन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनम् ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्.
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः
इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः
इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः
मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः
मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः
यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः
यो बुद्धे परतस्तु सः.
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः
मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः
मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः ये यो बुद्धे परतस्तु सः.
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियभ्यः परमं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धे परतस्तु सः.
इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धे परतस्तु सः.
Okay, good. एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा
एवं बुद्धे परं बुद्ध्वा
संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना
संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो
कामरूपं दुरासदम्
कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना
एवं बुद्धे परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्
जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्
एवं बुद्धे परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
Okay, thank you. So we have covered until 30th shloka. Just to summarize, this is the third adhyaya, which is the Karma Yoga. And in Karma Yoga, we have covered initial doubt of Arjuna. Which among the two would you suggest to be the best to practice between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga? And Arjuna, Sri Krishna says, both have been taught by me in the past, and only those who are very new to it may look at it separately, but actually those who are learned and trained enough, they would understand that there isn't much of difference because they have common paths. But he then says that it is important you conduct karma, not performing karma. Inaction is not allowed. And thereafter, he talks about how Brahma had ensured that humans have the attached responsibility of performing yajna, and yajna is considered as a sincerely done action. And yajnas are to be done in a way that humans and the celestial bodies or the celestial beings, the devatas, work with each other in a symbiotic fashion only for the sustenance of the creation. So humans have to kind of pay their, let us say, the respects through whatever they do, whatever work they do, they need to kind of submit it to the devatas, so that the devatas not only get the nourishment from that, they would also be pleased, and they will provide us with the various resources. And then he explains the cycle of how that cycle is sustained, cycle of creation, how that is sustained. And he warns against those who may wish to not be part of the cycle, and they would only kind of fall apart and get stuck in the samsaric kind of chakra. And then we looked at, let's see what else we have seen. So then we looked at some leadership aspects. यद्यद् आचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते. It is important that Arjuna, you can follow people like Janaka Maharaja. They have all been examples of Nishkama Karma. So you can follow them. And it is actually the leaders who actually set the stage, whereas a lot of followers actually just follow whatever the leaders have done. And then he explains that, look, actually, I don't have much of work to do. I'm not expected to do anything. But if I don't perform any actions, because people follow their leader. Similarly, if I don't do any action, nobody also conducts any action, and things will not get done. So whether I need to or don't need to do is material. I therefore conduct actions so that people don't, fall aside and don't become corrupted. And hence, I teach them the responsibilities. And thereafter, um, yeah, I think that's good enough. So let's begin with where we are right now. So having explained all that, ye me matamidam nityam anudishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyanto muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavantaha anasuyantaha muchyante te api karma bihi. So usually we would like to look at the verb, and anutishtanti is the verb here in the top sentence. Anutishtanti. Muchyante is also another verb. Anutishtanti. Tishtanti means to stay. Anutishtanti, to follow. So anutishtanti, who follows? Manavaha anutishtanti. People follow. Manavaha. Which manavas? Ye manavaha. Those manavaha. Those people anutishtanti. They follow. What do they follow? Mama matam. Me means me, my. Mama. Mama matam. My matam, or my philosophy, you can say, my principles. So my principles are followed by people. Nityam, always. So whoever follows my principles always, and what kind are they? Shraddhavantaha. They are very sincere in their practice. Shraddhavantaha. Anasuyantaha. Asuya, anasuya. Anasuyantaha. Here the contextual meaning of asuya is that those who find fault, their mission is always fault finding. They'll never be satisfied with the full explanation. They will just they keep on looking for those kind of loopholes and be focused on it rather than understanding the message altogether. But these are anasuyantaha. Therefore, they are not that kind of people. They are not worried about those nitty-gritty kind of microscopic seeing things under the lens kind of attitude. They don't have. Karmabihi te api muchyate. Karmabihi actually is by the actions. By the actions. In this context, it could be from the actions. So by the actions, what kind of actions? Because we are expected to perform actions, right? So when somebody is completely kind of surrendered to the concept of spirituality as explained by me, and they practice it sincerely, shraddhavantaha, anasuyantaha, are not of that kind of rationalization or questioning a kind of attitude, they they will be able to um, kind of um, let go of the karmic baggage. They will not be affected by it. Etve tadabhyasu nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudham stan vidhinashtana chetasaha. Now he is giving the opposite. Ye tu etad abhyasuyantaha na anutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudhan Tan vidhi nashtan achetasaha. So now previously we have seen the verb as anudishtanti. Here na anudishtanti. So therefore not following. Anudishtanti is following, na anudishtanti is not following. Ye manavaha, we can add the manavaha here. Ye manavaha, those manavas, those humans who do not follow, na anudishtanti. Which kind are they? Sarvajnana vimudhan. They may have knowledge, but what is the use? They possibly are using it in a very theoretical, fragmented fashion, not able to see the whole picture. Tan, those. Okay, that actually comes in the second sentence. We will look at it separately. Um, so the first sentence can be concluded this way. Abhyasuyantaha, those who are that kind of fault finding. Abhyasuyantaha, ye abhyasuyantaha. Mama matam na anudishtanti. Those who are always kind of finding faults and are not following my philosophy, to them, tan sarvajnana vimudhan, having knowledge but of no use because it is fragmented knowledge, nashtan, like failed people, nashtan, those who have failed in their understanding, achetasaha, chetas is mind or intellect here, achetasaha, not intelligent, murkhaha mudaha. So to those people it is all lost. They are not going to gain much in the spiritual path. Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha prakriterjnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kinkarishyati. Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha prakritehe jnanavan api prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Karishyati is the verb here. Nigraha. Nigraha is one who has been able to kind of manage to restrain his senses, mind, and body, basically use the tools in the right direction. That is what that sentence would be. So, nigraha kim karishyati. Okay. Then we also have another verb called yanti. Yanti basically is traveling, you can say. Or in this context, it is like abide by or following. Yanti, kani yanti, who are these people who are following or abiding by? Bhutani. Bhutam bhutani. Bhutam basically is a prani, like a living being. Any living being for that matter here is included. All the living beings are bhutani. So all the living beings follow something. What do they follow? Prakritim yanti. Prakriti basically is svabhava, or in other words, it is the innate nature, the instinctual nature by which every living creature does things. They are all as per the biological requirement they will have to do. So bhutani prakritim yanti. All the living creatures follow their own kind of natural biological ways of performing their actions. It is to be done. Okay, well, now that is established. Now what is he saying is basically telling about, those are about normal every kind of living being. But what about those who are learned, wise, panditas? What about them? So then he says sadrisham. Sadrisham basically means that kind. Sadrisham, that kind. Cheshtate swasyaha prakriteh jnanavanapi. Cheshtate is also a verb here. Cheshtate is also conducting. Conducting is cheshtate. Swasyaha, of their own. Prakritehe, of their prakriti. Of whom? Jnanavan. So Jnanavan is the subject here. Jnanavan sadrisham cheshtate. Similarly, in the same way, Jnanavan, a wise man or wise person, swasyaha prakritehe sadrisham cheshtate. Similarly, he also, however learned a person may be, they still have to be abiding by the requirements of the nature, how it expects everyone to conduct. They are not exempt. Why is it important, this shloka? This shloka is just to give an understanding that, look, just because you are wise or learned doesn't mean you have something very different. You don't have a different path like everybody else. Like everyone else, you need to sleep, you need to eat, you need to procreate, you need to do whatever you need to do. There will be no exemptions, you can say. There are no exemptions. You just have to carry on with what everyone else would be doing. Okay. So nigraha kim karishyate? In what way is it going to be any different just by restraining your actions? So the entire message here is that not inaction is not allowed. Inaction is not allowed. Just because you say you want to restrain or constrain yourself from performing actions, sorry, it doesn't work like that. As per the requirements of Prakriti or the nature, whether you are a learned person or a not learned person, you still have to follow the actions as decided by nature. What in what way is your jnana or knowledge going to help? You know what kind of actions to do, what not to do. Then you know how to do actions so that you are not attached to the fruit of the action. So those you can bring into play. But just to say that I am not going to do action is not going to take you anywhere. इन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोर्नवशमागच्छेत् तौ ह्यस्य परिपन्थिनौ. इन्द्रियस्य इन्द्रियस्य अर्थे रागद्वेषौ व्यवस्थितौ तयोः न वशम् आगच्छेत् तौ हि asya paripantinav. A little complicated looking shloka in that sense. We will see, because it is actually in dual case. In Sanskritam, there are three cases, number. One is singular, second, another is dual, and any more than two is plural. Ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam. So here, raga dveshau is a dual number. Raga means mamakara. This is mine, that is mine, and so on. Dvesha is obviously rejection or hatred. So here there are two sthanas for these things. What is that? Indriyasya, of the senses. Indriyasya arthe, in the external information that these senses actually kind of gather information from. In those two, there is an automatic quality called as mamakara, possession, hatred, dvesha. They're already ingrained in them. Any object that you actually see, want to have, they will have things like, I want that object, I am not liking that object, I like that person, I do not like that person is mine, this person is not mine. So these are all indriyasya arthe, the external information sources. Ragadvesha are therefore inherent component, inherent part of everything that is external to you, which through which your senses actually from which external information is gathered by your senses. Vyavasthitau is present. Tayoho, of them, of those two, na vashama agachet, never come into control of those two. Tau, tau hi asya paripanthinau. Just see what paripanthinau means. Paripanthinau. Ah. Tau paripanthinau. Paripanthinau means shatru, enemy. Asya, tau asya paripanthinau. Those two are actually this person's enemies. This person's enemies. Asya in this context, yes. This person's enemies. So how do we understand this whole thing again? Yeah. Indriyasya arthe ragadveshau vyavasthitau tayoho na vasham agachet. There's nothing different actually. The way the shloka is put up is fine. Tau hi asya paripanthinam. So those are enemies. Please don't get attached to them. Don't get attached to the indriyas or the indriyas information sources, because that is where your enemies are residing. And Arishad Varga, we know of Arishad Varga, the 6 enemies. Among them, they are Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya. Those are all enemies which are living outside you. One of the most important shlokas, this is Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Swanushthitat Swadharmene Dhanam Shreyaha Paradharmo Bhayavaha. Recently in our Sanatana Dharma webinar, we covered this shloka. Shreyan Swadharmaha Vigunaha Paradharmat Swa Anushtitat Swadharme Nidhanam Shreyaha Paradharmaha Bhayavaha. This seems like this is actually a summary of a huge concept that one needs to understand. And just through this sloka alone, we may not be able to do entire justice to the concept of Swadharma. Swadharma, Swa means my, Dharma means role, duty, principle. But here the context is duty, role. So my role, my duty. Paradharma, or my path. That's the other thing. Sorry, forgot. My role, my duty, my path. Paradharma, somebody else's role, somebody else's duty, somebody else's path. Okay. So there are these two things. Now, when you are born into one particular path, which means when you are born with certain kind of circumstances, in certain circumstances, when you are born with a certain temperament, you need to stay with those no matter what happens in your life, and that is your loyalty. Or in other words, that is what you are expected in this life to carry on until you die. Just because you don't like it, or because another path, another duty, another role looks more attractive, you should not be changing loyalties. Why? Because no matter how bad or how tainted or how flawed your own dharma is, and no matter how well structured and how beautiful and how majestic, how perfect the other dharma looks like, you are better off carrying on and dying in your swadharma than to expect that the paradharma will be ideal for you. In fact, it is going to be dangerous. In what way is a beautiful, well-structured dharma going to be dangerous for you? Sometimes it may turn out to be dangerous while you are in it. Or the other way to understand is that you are only looking at a cross-sectional view of this life and deciding what is good and what is not good for you. But never forget that you chose this life having rehearsed in before as a soul state. You chose this life having reviewed everything, and there is a reason why you have chosen this particular life and circumstances and temperament. It therefore makes it rather foolish to change it, because you'll have to repeat it all again anyway. You will not escape the whole idea. So you may have to, and you may end up repeating it all again. So let's go, now that I've explained it, because it is a more possibly a complicated concept. Now let's look at the shloka itself. Shreyan swadharmaha vigunaha paradharmat swa anushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmaha bhayavaha. Shreyan swadharmaha vigunaha, though they all are what we call as a first case, noun and adjectives. Swadharmaha vigunaha shreyan asti. So we have to add asti, will be, is. Your swadharma, even if it is viguna, flawed, is good. Okay. Paradharmat, compared to the paradharma, swa anushtitat, a very well oiled, well worthy of being practiced paradharma, even compared to that, your swadharma is better, even if it is flawed. And then Shreyaha swadharme nidhanam. Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha asti. Nidhanam means death. It is better to die in your own dharma. Paradharmaha bhayavaha asti. Other path is dangerous for you. That is the translation of this particular shloka. We can discuss these later on. Let's complete the shlokas first. And now Arjuna is asking, Arjuna uvacha atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushah anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. Atha kena prayuktaha ayam papam charati purushah anichan api varshneya balat iva niyojitaha. Arjuna is now able to understand what is being said. Gradually, the confusion is going away and he is able to now ask better questions. So now he is more interested to know what actually makes us carry on conducting papa. I want to know. So atha, in that case, kena, by which, ayam papam prayuktaha. No. पुरुषः प्रयुक्तः अयं पापं चरति अथ पुरुषः केन प्रयुक्तः a person purushah, actually speaking purusha possibly is going to be jivatma, the jivatma, the atma in me, that is me. If that is the case, that atma kena prayuktaha, by which, by what is it compelled to conduct papa? Ayam papam charati. Purushaha kena prayuktaha ayam papam charati is asking a question. What compels this jivatma then to continue to do papam? Anichan api, anichan api niyojitaha, balat iva niyojitaha. It is almost like this jivatma is so badly compelled, it doesn't like to do these things. It doesn't like to do these things. Which atma would like to do all these things? Because it is actually nothing but the universal cosmic energy which has lost its way and is kind of stuck in this ajnana, the ignorance. That we know later on from the shlokas. But Arjuna wants to know what stops this person from knowing this knowledge and what prompts or compels this same Jivatma, even though it dislikes to do anichan and balat iva, as if it is being forced, niyojitaha, appointed in a forceful way to keep doing this sins. He Varshneya, He Krishna. And to this, Sri Krishna is answering. Sri Bhagavadgita, Kama esha krodha eshaha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidyenamiha vairinam. Kama Kamaha eshaha krodhaha eshaha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashanaha mahapapma vidhi enam iha vairinam. Now Sri Krishna is explaining what you have said is nothing but kamaha. Eshaha kamaha asti. This is desire. Eshaha krodhaha asti. This is anger. Of course, here anger is only a symbol of all the Arishad Vargas. Kama, Krodha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, those kind of things. So whether it is Kama, whether it is Krodha, is the meaning here. Eshaha Kamaha asti, this is desire. Eshaha Krodhaha asti, this is anger. Both are the Shatrus, Vairi. Vairi means Shatru. Rajoguna Samudbhavaha. These actually have been produced through the Rajoguna. We have three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamo guna. A lot of people actually kind of make assumptions therefore that Rajoguna is bad, Tamoguna is bad, Sattva is good. That is true to a large extent when we want to attain perfection. But these three are building blocks of everything in creation. There is nothing which is not made of these three gunas. There may be some which have very, let's say 99% sattva guna and a 0.5% rajoguna, tamoguna maybe. And some which may have 99% tamoguna and 0.5% of each, other two, and so on. But everything is definitely made of the three gunas, because those are the building blocks of everything that you are and you see around. But here, anything which is related to action leads to naturally desires. Action leads to emotions. Action leads to obsessions. So therefore, rajoguna samudbhavaha. These are directly originating from rajoguna. Okay. So he's explaining how they have originated and what kind are they. Mahashanaha. It is like a fire in the kitchen which consumes everything. So the more you put in the fire, the more it keeps burning. That kind of the mahapapma. So the more desires you have, more it keeps it burning and just carries on. It becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. The fire gets bigger and bigger as much as you feed it. Right? Mahapapma Mahashanaha. So it is that kind of a Mahapapa kind of a big fire that it becomes. Vidhi enam iha vairinam. Iha means here, in here, in this loka, in this janma. Vidhi, know that enam vairinam. Vidhi enam vairinam. Know that this is the enemy. Okay. So what is the enemy? Rajoguna is not the enemy. These which have come from Rajoguna are the enemies. Okay. So Kamaha, Krodaha, they are like the big fire which keep on engulfing more you feed into it, and therefore know that they are enemies. धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्. धूमेन अव्रियते वह्निः यथा अदर्शः मलेन च यथा उल्बेन आवृतः गर्भः तथा तेन idam avrutam. Interesting example and very important concept. Vanhihi dhumena avriyate. Avaranam. Avaranam means covering. Avriyate is the verb here. Covered. What is covered? Vanhihi avriyate. The fire is covered. You remember, you might imagine there could be some fires where there's a lot of smoke coming out of it. Okay, it's not properly combustible for whatever reason. And the thick smoke that comes out of it actually kind of prevents your view of the actual fire. You only see the thick smoke, but you don't see the fire which is behind it or inside it. So like that, dhumena vanhihi avriyate. Just like how a fire is engulfed by thick smoke. Yatha malena cha adarshaha avriyate. Adarshaha is darpana, mirror. And how, like for instance, if a mirror is not cleaned over a long period of time, it just gathers a lot of dust and you can't see yourself through the mirror, right? So yatha malena adarshaha avriyate, just like how a mirror has been covered in thick dust. Yatha ulbena garbaha avritaha. Garbaha is the fetus in the womb. And the fetus is actually covered by, I would imagine here, of course, in the book, it is said as coverings, and also Maya was given as a word there. But I would think it will be the amniotic membranes here, just like how a fetus is covered in amniotic membranes. Ulbena. Tatha tena idam avrutam. Tena, by that. Idam avrutam, this is covered. What is that which is covering and what is this which is being covered? We need to understand. What is that which is covering it? Those desires and all those things which have been understood as enemies are covering this. This is Atma, the Jivatma. Because the question that Arjuna asked was, Purushaha, Ayam Purushaha, Kena Prayuktaha, Ayam Papam Karoti. What, this Jivatma, why, under the influence of what is this Jivatma conducting all this Papa? So, Idam is Atma. This Atma is being covered by those layers of ignorance, is the concept we have to understand. Again, very clearly, Jnanam or Vidya and Avidya. Vidya is the true knowledge of myself that I am the Atman. Avidya is the ignorance that stops me from having that knowledge, or also called Maya. Avrutam jnanametena jnanino nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. Avrutam jnanam etena jnaninaha nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. Okay, so carrying on, continuation. Etena nityavairina kamarupena, those are all together. Etena means by this. Nityavairina, constant perpetual enemy, or by this constant or perpetual enemy. Nityavairi is the enemy, constant enemy. Nityavairina means by the enemy. So, etena nityavairina kamarupena, the one which has the form of desire. The enemy that has the form of the desire, by that jnaninaha, of the jnani, jnanam avrutam, his jnanam is covered. Kamar, he kaunteya, kamarupena nityavairina etena kamarupena nityavairina etena nityavairina kamarupena jnaninaha jnanam avrutam. but there is a little bit left, which is the analogy, which is dushpurena analena cha. Just like how analena, the fire, by the fire, a fire which basically dushpurena, it cannot be satisfied. Purayati, pura means fill or completed. Dushpura, impossible to satisfy it. Just like how a fire ever engulfing, ever thirsty fire, by ever thirsty fire, you are engulfed and you never can escape. Similarly, the enemy in the form of desire, which is also ever thirsty, will keep on laying a cover over even the jnani's jnanam or the atma. He will never be able to discover as long as this fire of desire is burning. Indriyani mano buddhihi asyadhisthanamuchyate etaiर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्. इंद्रियाणि मनः बुद्धिः अस्य अधिष्ठानम् उच्यते एतैः विमोहयति एषः ज्ञानम् आवृत्य देहिनम्. Dehaha dehi. Dehaha means the gross body. Dehi means the Atma living in that gross body. So Dehi is the Atma. Dehinam is of the um, of the Atma. Let us say of the Atma for now. We'll look at the actual meaning later. It will be Dehinam is actually Dvitiya Vibhakti, second case. It's an object here. So Indriyani manaha buddhihi. Indriyani are the sense organs. Manaha is the mind. Buddhihi is the intellect. Asya adhishtanam iti uchyate. Uchyate is said. What is said? That in the sense organs, mind and intellect, adhishtanam are the place of residence. Asya, for this one. What is this one? That ajnanam, the kama rupa, desire. For that kama, the desire. So the desire, earlier also we have seen, right? Indriyasyarthe ragadvesha vyavasthitau. We've already seen that. It resides in it. So, kamaha, the desire, resides in sense organs, mind, and intellect. Iti uchyate is the understood or said so. Etaihi, etaihi means all these things. Indriyani, manaha, buddhihi, all these things. Etaihi, vimohayati is kind of fooled, moham, obsessed. Etaihi, by these things. Yeshaha, Eshaha, who the this Purushaha. Jnanam avritya dehinam. Eshaha kamaha. I think kamaha etaihi vimoha. Right, correct. Eshaha kamaha. Eshaha is related to kama. This kama, through these sense organs, through the manaha, mind, and through the intellect, dehinam vimohayati. So they actually kind of, I'm not getting the right word. They entice. Kamaha entices. Desire entices the Atma, Dehinam, through sense organs, mind, and intellect. Okay, because Kamaha, by residing in these various places, Kamaha, desire, entices the Jivatma. How? By covering the Jnanam, Avritya, Jnanam Avritya. So, Kamaha, Jnanam Dehinam, Jnanam Avritya, Etaihi Vimohayati, is to be understood that way. Tasmat tvamindriyan yadau niyamya bharatarshabha papmanam prajahi yenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Tasmat tvam indriyani adau niyamya bharatarshabha papmanam prajahi hi enam jnana vijnana nashanam. So jnana vijnana nashanam is one compound word or samasa word, samasa padam. What kind is it? Papmanam, hi, enam jnana vijnana nashanam. There are two things to be remembered always in practice of Sanatana Dharma. One is jnanam, knowledge. Another is vijnanam, the application. Both are destroyed by this kama, which is nothing but papmanam. It leads to a lot of sinful activities. Prajahi, let go, hey Bharatarshabha, hey the bull among Bharata people, let us say, I think that's what it means, but let's say Arjuna, hey Arjuna, Prajahi, let go of what? Enam, let go of this papmanam, this sinful thing, which also destroys jnanam and vijnanam. Having done what? Having done what? Indriyani adau niyamya. To begin with, Indriyani, senses, niyamya, get control of the senses. Tasmat, therefore, he Bharatarshabha, tasmat, he Bharatarshabha, adau, indriyani, niyamya, enam, jnana vijnana nashanam, papmanam, prajahi. So therefore, hey Arjuna, having controlled your indriyas, you let go of this desire, full desire, which is called, well, desire which leads to papa, and also destruction of the jnanam and vijnanam. Indriyani paranyahuhu, indriyebhyah param manaha, manasastu para buddhihi, yo buddhev paratastu saha. Another very important shloka to be remembered as a concept. Here we see the hierarchy of importance of various aspects of me as a human. So what do I have in me? I have a physical body. I have sense organs. I have a mind. I have intellect. And then I actually am the Atma. Okay, that is the hierarchy we are going to see now. As in, what is better than what? Indriyani parani ahuhu. Indriyebhyah param manaha. Manasah tu para buddhihi. Yaha buddhehe paratah tu saha. Indriyani parani ahuhu. Ahu means is said. What is said? It is said that indriyas, the sense organs, are better. but it is not said compared to what. It is understood that it is dehaha, physical body. So dehat indriyani parani ahuhu is the sentence. Second sentence. Indriyebhyaha param manaha asti. Indriyebhyaha, compared to the indriyas, the sense organs, manaha, mind, is better or superior. Manasaha, compared to the mind, to parabuddhihi. Compared to the mind, intellect is superior. Yaha buddhehe parataha tu saha. The one who resides superior is, or one who is superior to the intellect is saha. Saha is atma. How, wherever do we see saha, eshaha, and so on? Tat tvam asi, that you are. Aham brahma asmi. There, both in those we don't see the saha, but we see saha elsewhere, which is saha aham asmi. Saha aham becomes soham. Saha aham, I am, he is that. Sorry, I am that. Saha aham, I am that. Aham means me. Aham means I. Saha means that. I am that. So therefore, this is another concept, conceptually foundational concept which we need to understand, which is that all the things that we work with or as have a name for, as I said, Srinivasa, are all anatma. They're not atma. That atma is actually you, which doesn't have the name, and that is superior to all these things. In fact, for its purushartha is everything being done. So better to do things in a way which are suitable and ideal for the Atma, using all these tools. The final shloka. Evam buddhev param buddhva samstabhyatmanam jahi shatram mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Evam buddhev param buddhva samstabhya atmanam atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Right, so now he's finally giving an instruction saying, Hey Mahabaho, the one with great grand shoulders, Arjuna, hey Arjuna, Tvam Jahi, Tvam needs to be added here, Tvam Jahi, Kam Shatrum, Tvam Shatrum Jahi, you win over the enemies, enemy. What kind of enemy? Kamarupam enemy, the one which is in the form of desire. What kind again? Durasadam. Let us see what Durasadam actually means. Something which cannot be easily won. Durasadam. Something which cannot be easily won. Durasadam. So, He Mahabaho, Tvam, Kamarupam Durasadam Shatrum Jahi. You win over this enemy called Kama. How? Having understood that Evam Buddhehe Param Buddhva, that you are even beyond or superior to the buddhi, the intellect. Samstabhya atmanam atmana. The atma word is differently used in different contexts. It can mean anything. it could be, it most of course it is Jivatma anyway, but it could also mean, as per the context, buddhi. It could also mean mind. It could also mean everything which we associate with our body. When we say Atmana Atmanam, here it is with Atma, Atmanam, of the Atma. How can it be so? So here it is of you, there are two components. You as the tools also is Atma. You as Jiva also referred to as Atma. So with your tools, you do good for your Jivatma is what it means basically. So samstabhya would mean, yeah, control. So if it is control, then we have to look at what does Atmana here means. Atmana is with buddhi, and Atmanam here means mind, interestingly. So here it is not referring to the Jivatma. So it is confusing, but that is how it is. So here in this context, having understood that you are Jivatma, and the most superior tool you have as Jivatma is the Buddhi. So using Buddhi, control your mind. And when you control your mind, and in fact say it includes control mind and sense organs, you will win over the unassailable, undefeatable Kama, which is your Shatru. So, Atmana Atmanam Samstabhya Evam Buddheha Param Buddhva. Buddhva means having understood. Having understood that you are actually superior to Buddhi, that you as Jivatma is superior to Buddhi, the intellect, which is the most intelligent, most superior tool. Use that tool to your good effect. That tool has to be, that is the highest form of tool that you can utilize. Now use that tool, Buddhi, to control your mind and sense organs, so that you win over the Kama, called Shatru, called Kama. Here we stop. This is the end of our Tritiya Adhyaya. I'll be happy to take any questions if anybody has.
Yeah, I have not attended the webinars on Sanatana Dharma that you're doing. I couldn't attend the first two, so I actually haven't attended. But you said you elaborated on Swadharma in that. I mean, that's a little confusing. How does it relate to the present day modern living that modern world that we are in? How do we? I think I asked this question last time also. Swadharma, what exactly? How do we define Swadharma for any given individual?
Can you give me example where it doesn't seem to be tallying for you, so that helps me
No,
understand it better?
I mean, what I mean is, is it by, so if you're talking of the circumstances that you're born in, so in terms of Hinduism, say, so if you are born in a certain varna, in a certain varna, so these are the stipulated things that you need to do. Is it that, or is it, say, if I'm a doctor or I'm a teacher or somebody else?
And how
So,
is Varna defined by you?
Yeah, varna, I think, is what your inclination would be to if you are so if you're a trader or if you're a business person, that would be, maybe that would equate to being a I'm confused. So that's
So
all.
you need, therefore, you first of all, you need to define what Varna is. Only then I can help.
Mhm.
You need to have the
So,
clarity, because otherwise it will always be like this.
okay.
You
So,
need to figure
what
out
about,
whether Varna is, if you are born into a trader's family and therefore you follow trade, is what you say as Varna, or you say it is as per inclination, that is Varna. You need to decide that first.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is not definitely not birth. It's not.
If it is not birth, then there is no problem. Now, if you agree on that, then
Hmm.
Swadharma applies to any point of time, modern, ancient, future, never mind, doesn't matter. Because it is dependent
Hmm.
on your Swabhava, your
Yeah.
temperament and inclination, nothing to do with what you are born in. Circumstances doesn't necessarily mean circumstances stay rigid.
Hmm. Yeah. And
Circumstances are used
yeah. The other
uh,
thing
to
is,
a large extent as loyalty, but doesn't necessarily have to be rigid.
yeah, the other thing is, like you said previously, Sanatana Dharma. It is universal. It is not just limited to,
Hmm.
that. So it is wherever
Yeah,
in the world you
absolutely.
are.
So Swadharma applies to those who are born beyond Jati system. Jati system is a very peculiar Indian Bharatiya Vyavastha. It's a social Vyavastha. But
Yeah.
Jati system doesn't exist anywhere else like that anymore in other parts of the world. So doesn't Swadharma apply there? Doesn't Varna Dharma apply there? Very much applies. Varna Dharma very much applies everywhere across the world. It's not Jati system. Jati Vyavastha is an extension or extrapolation of the Varna Vyavastha. Varna Dharma.
Yeah. 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 I just wanted to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just that, that clarity has to be stuck to. Otherwise, what happens is, as per our convenience, I've noticed that people switch as per convenience between Jati and Varna. When it suits them, they want to stick to Jati, that group, and call it Varna. When they want to be politically correct, they will say, no, 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 Jati is different and Varna is different. That hypocrisy has been going on for far too long, and that doesn't help the cause of concepts, and especially Sanatana Dharma. So we need to be very clear. Are we shunning Jati because it is obsolete? Say so. But don't tarnish Varna Dharma because of your own. When I say your own, not you, but one's
Yeah.
one's kind of that bondage, because you are. It's like a vasana, right? It's like a vasana. It doesn't go away, and you just want to continue to stick to it. So I would not agree that Swadharma necessarily has to be confined to Jati system. I would believe Swadharma is more to do with Varna rather than a Jati. So circumstances have to be taken into account, but at the same time, Swadharma, if it is as per one's own individual temperament, then the temperament decides what direction it should take.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, it is a very complicated subject, and everybody has their own opinion. But this is as much as I can see from Bhagavad Gita, where it clearly seems to be giving some direction. So uh, yeah. Anybody else wishes to ask anything? Right, we'll bring it to a close. Thank you once again, all of you. Main thanks to Ram Mohodaya for every week he passionately joins on time and does the shloka ucharana. I would encourage others to also join on time and take turns to kind of do the same. And let it become a satsanga so that everyone gains out of this. Right. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkhabad bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti.